So one of the strange unintended consequences of COVID is that it's beginning to create a conversation about mental health. That there are many people with more complex mental health issues that need addressing. And in order to address those particular issues, a more comprehensive approach is required.
Robert runs a mental health wellness center in Chiang Mai, a place which incorporates wellness treatment such as yoga and mindfulness-based approaches into clinical psychology and psychiatrist services. He said residential care is a much more intensive form of treatment as opposed to visiting the psychologist, therapist, or counselor once a week.
If they've come to us, it means that they have hit a point in their life where they can no longer really effectively function. So the most important thing for us to do is help build their self-confidence, their self-efficacy, and start rebuilding them in terms of their self-esteem, but also really starting to unpack the issues that led them to being here in the first place.
Though not everyone can afford to be away from their daily life to receive such treatment, Thai government has been making efforts to provide services they can in local medical facilities. A committee on treatment and rehabilitation of drug addiction said that their goal this year is to expand treatment and rehabilitation services for drug addicts by setting up more clinics and inpatient psychiatric wards alongside the rehabilitation services in community hospitals under the Department of Mental Health. This effort could change many things in Thailand, from reducing stigma and creating more awareness concerning mental health and addiction to access to care for people in rural areas. The policy also aims to change the mindset of the public about drug addiction. It's actually an illness which can be treated.
ประมวลกฎหมายตัวใหม่ที่ออกมาเนี่ยก็จะเน้นเรื่องของคำว่าผู้เสพคือผู้ป่วยนะครับคุณไม่สบายคุณมีปัญหาจากการใช้ยาหรือสารเสพติดก็สามารถจะหาเรื่องของการบำบัดรักษาได้ทุกคนอาจจะมีบางจังหวะที่ก้าวพลาดนะผมเชื่อลึกๆอย่างนั้นเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยกฎหมายมันเป็นตัวอันนึงในอดีตที่มันเป็นตัวแบ่งคนออกไปอย่างนั้นในอดีตนะฮะถูกมองภาพลักษณะแบบนั้นแต่ว่าถ้าเราแก้เรื่องของตรงนี้แล้วเนี่ย mindset คนจะค่อยๆถูกเปลี่ยนผมเชื่อว่าอย่างนั้น
Dr. Kanok specializes in drug addiction, something that many people don't really link with mental health. He runs a clinic in Marim and a rehabilitation facility called the Warmth Rehab. He said drug or alcohol abuse can simply come from attempts to self-medicate. On the other hand, long-term drug abuse can also cause mental health disorders. For Robert, he sees that addiction is a result of mental health issues.
Some people use a medical model where they see addiction as a disease. Some people look at it through psychiatry, where it's defined as substance misuse disorder or alcohol misuse disorder. So that's what we call pathologizing addiction as a mental health disorder or disease. For me personally, and in my opinion, and in my practice and in the years that I've worked with those with addiction issues, generally speaking, addiction is a symptom of something like anxiety, depression, and more often than not, trauma. And that's why we have a very heavy focus here on trauma work. And there's a lot of research to indicate those linkages. So for me, addiction is, broadly speaking, a symptom of some underlying issues, which is why you can't run a center that works with addiction and only treat addiction, because you're treating the symptom, you're not treating the underlying cause of it.
คือก่อนอื่นเขาก็ต้องตระหนักก่อนว่าตอนนี้เขามีปัญหาเรื่องนี้อย่างเช่นถ้าเขาควรจะรู้ตัวก่อนว่าตอนนี้เขามีปัญหาเรื่องของอาการทางจิตเวชไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของซึมเศร้านะครับหรือว่าเรื่องของถ้าเขามีปัญหาเรื่องไซโคติกแล้วก็เริ่มที่จะเสาะหาหรือว่าที่จะเข้าไปปรึกษาแพทย์หรือว่านักจิตวิทยาในประเทศไทยหรือว่าสถานฟื้นฟูต่างๆอะไรเงี้ยฮะหรือว่าสถานบำบัดต่างๆ
Robert said what Thailand has to offer in terms of mental health support is already better than many fully developed countries. He said Thailand, in many ways, is actually quite far ahead. Even then, like many other countries, Thailand also has structural issues. The country needs to raise the resources and develop a more skilled mental health workforce.
Because in order to have effective services, you have to have an effective workforce that's well skilled, well trained, well regulated, and has continuous education and workforce development. And those are key components in workforce development.
Tulip นาคสมภพเปล่า reporting for Thai PBS World